my lovelies. Today is December 29th. It is the full moon. Now where I'm at, it's overcast, so I can't see the lovely moon at current, but I can feel it. And this past week, but especially since winter solstice, is it just me, or have things felt kind of intense? In the sense that, for me, it's really brought up a lot of stuff. Just nothing like too incredibly huge, but kind of like when it comes up, there's no getting around it or getting away from it. And and I think too, I'd just like to say right off the bat that if you experience volatile feelings, I think that's normal. I think it's okay to, no matter what you're experiencing, not everything is going to feel great. And especially when we're moving through moon phases, it's not all love and light and waking up and feeling perfectly in tune and in alignment. And these things come with adjustments. And like yesterday was just not a great day. It just felt like one thing after the other. And I definitely felt a huge range of volatile, intense feelings that, it can be really hard to know what to do with them, or where to go when you're in that space, when you really are feeling those feels. And I would encourage you to soothe yourself by saying things like, it's okay. I'm in a moment, and it's not going to stay this way. And things, a lot of times really get shake up and come to the surface, and then we are faced with it, face to face with aspects of our selves that maybe don't feel great. And I have certainly come into this life with my fair share of just learning to recognize what I'm feeling, but how they're my feelings, and that they're not necessarily someone else's responsibility, or I can't just blame someone else for how I'm feeling. Now, I know that's really popular to do that, and to use someone else as the excuse for your reaction, your behavior, and your mood, and your attitude, or whatever. And I get it. I really get it. I have spent a good chunk of my life doing that. And, I'm not calling anybody out about it. Everybody has to process and deal with their how they emotionally regulate. It's ultimately, it all comes down to how you choose to deal with your own emotions. And that's not always easy, especially when there's someone that is so just incredibly wrong. In your face, wrong. And it's really easy to blame them and to, create these stories and narratives about the other. Oh, God, it would be so much easier if I could just roll with that and not see where my part in it is. And this is my how I do it and what I come back to and how I focus through it. It's not going to feel right or good to everyone, and that's okay. But for me, I always, I just can't get it. I can't get away with it. I can do it for a time, but I genuinely have to recognize that I play a part in how I choose to feel, and that using someone for feeling angry or bad or sad or whatever it is, it doesn't fit in my overarching reality for very long, because I'm really interested in being in control of myself and being in control of how I choose to respond towards a person or situation, or whether it's in my control or out of my control. I'm always responsible for my response. And sooner or later, I always come back around to that. And this, oh man, it just feels like that's what came up for me for this full moon, is to just realize that I sometimes make things way harder and way more stressful for myself because of how I choose to focus or react. And that's on me. And that's, that makes me feel, of course, annoyed at first, always, because why wouldn't it? I mean, I feel more empowered when I'm at a point where I can step back and say, yeah, this is what I chose to do, but this is what I could do next time, and that feels better. And that's kind of like re-editing or re-scripting a pattern. A lot of my reactions are programming, and not all of it is programming that I had a hand in doing when I was like really young or whatever. But now that I'm mature, I can find a lot of better tools to help me reprogram things that just don't work for me. Oh man, I can get seriously stressed out about stuff, and I can really ruin my day. I can ruin so much of what could just be something that I could just observe and recognize and then just be like, okay, well, that's a thing. But I'm really good at taking the bait and just getting right up on it and trying to assert my rightness or my opinion or my indignity or how I'm offended or any of these things. And, we kind of live in a society where we've given each other permission to do that in a lot of instances. And I don't really feel or think that that is necessarily always helping us with the bigger picture. And that's all right, because in this world, we're always given opportunity after opportunity to revisit things that trigger us. And just when you think you've got your shit together and that you're making really good choices and that you're staying calm and peaceful and all of that, things will happen and they will show you exactly where you're at in terms of how you choose to respond. And is it with love, or is it with any of the other stuff? Because it's an endless list of ways of how you can react that's not love, that's not granting grace and compassion for ourselves, first and foremost, and for another. And I know a lot of the ins and outs of justifying my actions and my opinions and my reactions to things that I don't like and that I don't want. And when we leave this world, none of those things are going to be a part of our repertoire, We're going to be taking, in my way of seeing things, we're going to be taking the love that we've somehow managed to cultivate in difficult times with difficult situations and difficult people, and that, I think, is what we take with us, is all the love and the growth of choosing love even when it's so easy, so tempting to judge and be volatile and judgmental and hurtful. And I am not anywhere close to having a super awesome handle at times on my own feelings and my own internal, reactions and responses. Like, I've had some really abhorrent thoughts in my life towards people and situations, even towards myself. And I think that that's actually very normal. What is not needed or necessary is to stay in those kinds of toxic swamps. They really will suck the joy out of your very bones, and they will leave you completely bitter and resentful and hateful. And that's not the vision I have for my life or for myself personally. Even though I am no stranger to having really caustic thought streams. But the point of it is that when it comes up and I recognize it and I feel it and I know it's not where I want to be and what I want to be doing, you can't always suddenly just jump out of it right at that moment. It is helpful to have some things that you can do to help you through it. I like going for walks. I like to keep my mouth shut. Just not say anything and make it worse. And then if I can just give myself some space, the thoughts will slow down on their own. And I like to introduce opposite thoughts that to counterbalance really negative, volatile thoughts. So, we're not all light and joy and happiness, rainbows shooting at our ass 24/7. And that's not even really very realistic. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's so hard. And it's so easy to be feel like a victim and feel like, why is this happening to me? Why is this other person just being so disagreeable, so difficult, so this or so that? And I have had seething hate just pouring out of me at times in my life. And, I'm not going to say you shouldn't feel that way, or you shouldn't do that. Those are your feelings. When you look at a little child who's having a tantrum, or they're having an altercation with another little toddler or something, these children are just pure emotion machines. They're just purely in the moment, feeling their feels. And we, try to make sure that they're safe and, don't get too carried away. But, we give them space and grace to feel how they're feeling, because that's how you process and learn to move through it. And so many people don't allow themselves or other people around them to feel how they're feeling, and they try to shut it down, shut other people down. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think it's great having toxic feelings, but I would rather feel what I'm feeling and then be able to be in a space where I can then process it and recognize it and still unconditionally embrace my own heart and my own being, and be like, there, it's okay, it's gonna get better, it's, You know, like it's not always gonna feel shitty like this, like it maybe you're feeling in this moment. And so, I don't know, that has been my, that's kind of what's been going on with me. It's been a lot of just stuff. And, if you're in a different space and things are really flowing and clicking and feeling good, that's cool, man. That's awesome. And I am like right there going, yes, yes. Keep that going and do that, because everything is in cycles. That's why I love the moon phase work, because no matter what, you're going to cycle around. You're going to have the highs and you're going to have the lows. And I really think the key is learning how to balance and find a nice, soft middle ground where you can, move through whatever it is with just a little bit more self-love and grace for yourself. Because I think it's a lot easier to extend that to other people and situations when you extend it to yourself, first and foremost, because it's not easy. It's not always easy to do that. So this is I'm sure of it, I can tell. This has become a ridiculously long video, but, I don't think we always give ourselves permission to sit with how we are feeling when what we are feeling does not feel good. And a lot of times, instead of sitting with our feelings that do not feel good, we look for people to blame, or we look for a way to distract ourselves from it instead of taking responsibility for our own emotional regulation and how we are moving in our life. And if that resonates with you, then I hope that has been helpful, that you're not alone, and it's okay to have thoughts and feelings that are really intense and maybe by most standards just really wretched. And it's okay, and it doesn't always have to be like that. It takes some practice and some time, but you can definitely move yourself through any of that and come out the other side with some, some wisdom, some appreciation for what it is that you're really wanting. Because I really think it helps us redirect when we see a lot of what we don't want, and we can then really formulate more clearly what we do want. And I believe that, because that happens to me all the time. So, yeah. Happy full moon. I feel a lot of release with this full moon because of what's come up and come to, like a big zit that just popped everywhere. It's just like, yeah, I feel relief. I feel like, okay. I get a little bit more understanding and knowledge each time I go through a cycle like this. And I get better. I get better at moving through it. Every single time it gets easier and it gets quicker. But even when it doesn't feel easy or quick, it's okay. It's okay. Even when it feels like everything's going wrong and you just feel really, really dark, it's okay. You're loved. And you matter. And you are so incredibly valuable in the scheme of things. And I appreciate you. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here before Sage starts talking even louder. He's playing an online game, and he's very happy, jubilant at the moment. Happy full moon. And we're moving into the new year, and I'm okay with that. So, what are you going to be thinking and focusing about for yourself? For you. And only you. Something special just for you in this coming new year. Think about that. Till we talk again. Starshine and moon blessings.